Hello and welcome to iBluAirJgR Gaming for Comedy. This is Orendi, the dominating, the deranged, the devilish, the rogue attacker. Orendi is your crazy ex-girlfriend born again as an even crazier version of your ex-girlfriend with the ability to incinerate you with bolts of shadow fire. She's very frightening to say the least, but what are we talking about today? Topic number 1, dating someone in your neighborhood and why it's potentially a bad idea. Topic number 2, the crazy meter and how much insanity you're willing to put up with if the sex is good. Before we touch on those two things, we're going to talk about Orendi and how she plays on the Incursion and Capture Game mode. Battleborn has Orendi classified as an agile skirmisher, but she's also a mage. Her basic attacks are fairly weak, but she has powerful abilities that, when used correctly, will completely destroy unsuspecting players. Her first ability is Nullify. She releases a burst of energy that deals damage and propels her backwards away from the blast. Her second ability is Shadow Fire Pillar. 1.5 seconds after activating, Orendi summons a pillar that deals massive damage in a targeted area. Next, her passive ability is Genosis. Activating Nullify lowers the cooldown of Shadow Fire Pillar by 8 seconds. Orendi's ultimate ability is Paradigm Shift. After a brief channel, she sends a blast of energy directly ahead of her, dealing massive damage to all enemies caught in the blast. Last but not least, her primary attack is Chaos Bolts. She fires quick blasts of energy from her hands. She can fire multiple blasts simultaneously with her secondary attack. Alright, by this point you already know what the deal is. Well, actually maybe you don't. So what the deal is we're going to take a look at the first Helix ability and we're going to start this match off right. It's time for some Incursion and it's time to fire Walk with Me. After you activate Nullify, you create a little trail of damage on the floor that deals damage over time to enemies that step in that trail. Now before we continue talking about the abilities, we're going to talk about the enemy teams. My team is Miko, Eldragon, Galt, Whiskey Foxtrot, and myself as Orendi. Enemy team, Alani, Khalees, Montana, Shane and Aurochs, and Marquis. They have a lot of sustain and a lot of durability, whereas my team is much more aggressive. We've got a lot of burst damage potential from myself as Orendi. We got Eldragon, he's just a beast in his own right, and then Galt, of course, he can grab people with those hooks. It's a very devastating combination we got going on. Okay, and the gates are open, and it looks like Eldragon is just going to dash out immediately. This guy, he would definitely give Usain Bolt a run for his money. Look at him. He's just picking up all the shards. Nobody's going to get shards as long as Eldragon. Look at him. Look at him. He's gone. He's gone. Nobody's catching this man. But seriously, we're not here to talk about Eldragon. We're here to talk about Orendi and how she plays, what she does, and what she's all about. So she's a mage, right? And if you've never played a MOBA game before, then you don't really know what a mage is. You know, if you're coming from a first-person shooter, then that term is going to be strange to you, right? So she has regular attacks, you know, she can toss out those shadow bolts, but her main strength is in being able to burst people down with her abilities. You know, if it was a full-on MOBA, her abilities would be called spells, but just the ability to completely destroy people with those things, that's why she's a mage. She can't really... You know, she's not going to get into a ranged battle with Marquis, you know, just throwing little sniper bolts at him. It's never going to work. She's got to get in there, she's got to land those spells, and she has to completely blow people up with her spells. I'm going to periodically call them spells instead of abilities, just because that's what they feel like. Because she's a witch, right? And witches cast spells on people. So this match is already off to a pretty interesting start. The enemy team does not have nearly as much damage potential as we do because they've gone for a 2 support play, right? And it looks like Galt is going to land a hook on Marquis. He was just chilling in that sniper nest, and Galt said, you're going to have to come down here and fight with the big boys. And that is something very valuable for the team to do, keeping pressure on the enemy sniper, not allowing them to get those free shots on people. That's very devastating. We're already making some good plays. We've got them pushed back. They do have a significant amount of healing from Alani, but Khalees is not going to be able to heal them up until he reaches level 5, and he gets what I like to refer to as the chair of healing, the healing chair. But right now, I've been pretty damaged up by Marquis. We definitely need to keep a lot of pressure on him. It looks like he's definitely trying to make his home in that sniper nest. I'm trying to ping him out. Looks like I'm going to send that Shadow Fire up there, try and get some damage off on him, try and scare him off a little bit, but it doesn't seem like he's really afraid of it just yet. And we're definitely going to have to make a change to that. We're going to have to show Marquis that he can't sit up there comfortably. And something that Orendi, I feel, something I feel that a lot of people take for granted about Orendi is that her toolkit definitely rewards you for being aggressive. It rewards you for pushing forward. And Shane and Aurochs is trying to push forward, but his team is definitely not supporting him as well as they could be. He's gone the wrong way. He should have retreated, but he was trying to do some sneaky shit, but that's not going to work for you this time. But her toolkit, it definitely rewards you for being aggressive, for being in people's face, for just going places where you arguably shouldn't be going. And it's very strange, because normally when you play a mage character, you kind of want to sit on the back lines and kind of poke at people, but with Orendi, let me tell you something, this bitch is crazy, so you got to start doing crazy things, right? You got to get into her head, right? You got to do things that Orendi would do. Look at this. See, jumping onto that sniper, and it's just showing Marquis that he can't sit up there comfortably. I did a cool thing where I put the Shadow Fire pillar behind him and he backed up into it. The spell has a 1.5 second activation time, so leading those shots are very important. We're seeing Alani is definitely keeping him healed up, so he is feeling brave about that, but I'm not going to let him sit there comfortably. I'm not going to let him just stand on that nest and keep shooting people without that intimidation factor from those Shadow Fire pillars and that nullify. Just getting up there, just climbing up there. Like, he's very relentless. He doesn't want to leave the safety or the relative safety of that sniper nest. It's a very good spot to get, to hurt people. Look at him. His shields haven't even come back, and he's just staying. I'm going to stay as long as he wants to stay, and I'm not trying to leave anytime soon because my health is very high. Just landing those Shadow Fire pillars. Now, I am in a weak situation right now because all of my abilities are on cooldown. I've used my Nullify to reduce the cooldown on the Shadow Fire pillar already, so I don't have any really powerful offensive options for the moment. And that is definitely one of Orendi's weaknesses. That's why she's a skirmisher. When her cooldowns are gone, she can't really do too much damage with her basic attacks. But once they come back, you can get right back in the action, start doing that damage, start doing that work. Now, something else that you'll notice that I'm doing is I'm using the secondary fire or the alt fire option for Orendi's bolts. I do that simply because I aim a little bit better with her secondary fire. It's not, I don't know if it's actually a DPS increase to use her secondary fire option, but that's just a preference thing. I kind of alternate between them based on how I'm feeling. And looks like the enemy team is trying to push up just a little bit. They have a Thrall, and I'm going in for a bit of an aggressive play on Montana, but I'm not going to commit too hard to that chase because my team is getting backed up a little bit. I don't want to go, you got to be a little crazy with Orendi, but don't get stupid, right? You got to be crazy, but not stupid, and that's what it's all about with Orendi. But now it's time to pick our next ability. I hate your pretty eyes. When you activate Nullify, enemies will be blinded for 1 second. The alternative is adding a push effect to it. Both of them are completely viable. I just prefer going for the blind. And the next one, Let's Bounce. Nullify's propulsive effect launches Orendi in the direction she's moving. So this is going to allow you to be even more agile than you already are. So instead of only being able to launch yourself backwards, you can launch yourself forward, left, right, backwards, or directly up into the sky. So this is going to make you a lot more unpredictable, and you can be a lot more creative with how you use your abilities. And here we go, Marquis just right back in that sniper nest once again. This is I gotta get rid of this guy because he is just relentless. He doesn't want to leave, and right now I have my Shadowfire pillar ready. I'm gonna put it behind him. It is gonna hit him. He's gonna he needs to leave. This is a bit too much. This is a bit excessive, but right now I'm waiting on those cooldowns. As soon as those cooldowns come back, I will be able to kill him if I can land them properly. At this point, I'm waiting for you, buddy. I'm waiting for you. Alani's gonna heal him up again. His shields are coming back. My cooldowns are ready though, so I'm gonna launch them off. Alani is actually coming to support him at this point, so I gotta get the hell out of dodge. I gotta use my Nullify, and as you can see, the cooldown is gonna refresh on the Shadowfire pillar. Galt is actually gonna join me on the hill. He did land the trap, so I am gonna put that Shadowfire pillar on top of him, doing even more damage. Orendi pairs very well with anyone that has hard CC. You got Wrath in there with a knockup, boom, put that Shadowfire pillar. You grab somebody with Galt, put that Shadowfire pillar. And it looks like I'm committing at this point to the fight. I'm going in there. I'm just staying on this ledge. I am not letting anyone fight here comfortably. And it looks like the rest of the enemy team is starting to see that I am a force to be reckoned with on this ledge. And so is Galt, so is everybody else on my team. We don't want them to feel safe. They have a lot of support, and we don't want that support to really take advantage of us, because it looks, oh wait a minute, now I've just gone completely onto their side, and it looks like that Shadowfire Pillar did in fact hit Marquis, and it is time to start throwing out the taunts. Let's see that one more time, because that was pretty crazy. All right, so I'm on the ledge. Eldragon doing that clap attack. I see Marquis' shields are going down. He needs to be made aware that this ledge is no longer his. My Shadowfire Pillar is on cooldown, but my Nullify is ready, so I'm going to activate it, reduce that cooldown by 8 seconds, trying to anticipate where Marquis is going to run, putting that pillar down, and then boom, he's going to walk into it. He's going to end up pretty much killing himself. If he saw it before it went down, he might have escaped, but he didn't, so I'm going to pick up that kill, and I'm going to taunt him. I'm going to show him that this is my ledge, and you not gonna come up here no more. That's what it's all about. So it's all about balancing out that aggression, managing those cooldowns properly with Nullify and Shadowfire Pillar, using them as offensive tools and as, you know, evasion when you need to, but always prioritize offense with Orendi. So now we're going to skip ahead a little bit. The next ability is Preamble of Pain. Shadowfire Pillar deals 180 damage over 1.5 seconds. So when you cast Shadowfire Pillar, the time in which it's sort of revving up and preparing to explode, it's going to deal more damage. So that's going to give you a stronger ability to clear out minions, but it's also going to pair well with anyone on your team that has crowd control. If you get somebody stuck in one of Galt's traps, or if Alani bubbles somebody, you can activate that Shadowfire Pillar, deal an even more damage. It looks like we're going for the Thrall camps right now. And wait a minute, Marquis, he might have been trying to solo those Thralls, and we are definitely not having that. You can't run from Eldragon, man. That is Usain Dragon right there. He is an unstoppable force, and looks like I am going to land the bolt in the back on Marquis, and I'm going to taunt him, showing him that he needs to stay back. He may as well stay in the spawn at this point, because I'm coming for his head every single time I see him. That's what it's all about. And once again, continuing the aggression, putting that Shadowfire Pillar down. Alani is going to take the full damage from the dot and from the explosion. She does have the ability to heal herself up, though, so she's not going to really be in too much danger, but it looks like I am definitely looking for her. I'm on the hunt, but I don't see her, so I'm going to have to pull back out a little bit. All right, wait a minute. Now I'm getting a little bit of poke action on the sentry. The enemy team has definitely been backed up, so I'm shooting that. There's a nice little trick. If you shoot the back legs on the sentry and destroy that armor on the back legs, then you can actually land critical hits on the sentry. It's a little bit difficult to do that, especially if you don't have, you know, a bunch of minions and thralls, but it's definitely something valuable to attempt at least. And here we go. We're getting back into action, putting that pillar down, and it's going to hit Cleese directly on the chair, so he's going to take some big damage. It looks like I'm on the hunt. I smell blood, and now it's time to go for it. Looks like Galt is going to land the wire, and I'm just going to continue blasting him. Got a little bit turned around, but I am going to get the kill in the end. I don't even know how that happened, but whatever. Throwing out the taunts. It's all about the mind games with Orendi. People got to think you're crazy. If you're getting a lot of kills with her, taunt every single body that you kill. It looks like Marquis is just going to go down. He's actually going to get hit with the ultimate, so that's very bad for him. Going to put down another pillar. The dot damage is actually going to kill him. It wasn't the explosion itself, so that is further showing you the power of just having a dot, so that you can just put that thing down and it's already doing work. And I'm chasing out Alani, but she is actually going to make it around the corner in time before I am able to kill her. But wow, Orendi, she is definitely a force to be reckoned with. She's definitely a counter to any character that has any sort of healing potential. She counters them for the simple fact that she can dish out an incredible amount of damage so quickly that the enemy does not have time to react. Healers cannot respond quick enough to the amount of damage that Orendi can put out. So if you're ever feeling like, wait a minute, I need to get some gear for Orendi, what am I going to get? It's all about skill damage and cooldown reduction, possibly movement speed as well, because she's already a very fast character. You can augment that. But, you know, if you're playing Orendi, just think, you know, if your enemy team has a healer and they have a bunch of squishies, you know, they got Wrath running around acting the fool, chase after him, put that pillar on his face, blow him the fuck up before the healer even has a time to think, hey, maybe I should heal him, but wait, I can't because he's already been blown up. So here we go. I'm putting my Shadowfire pillars out. I'm sending out that paradigm shift again. I am going to miss it that time, or maybe I didn't. I actually think I hit Marquis with that. I'm chasing him. I'm going so far into the enemy lines, and I do not care. I have no regard for my own safety at this point, and it's partly because the enemy team has gone for a bit more of a defensive setup with 2 supports, so I feel a little bit more comfortable being this aggressive. But even if they weren't, a very defensive team, I would still be pushing forward, trying to get as much aggression as possible, trying to scare people off as much as possible. Putting that pillar down, it's not going to hit Alani this time. It seems like she's gotten a bit used to how I'm attacking, how I'm playing. And once again, I'm using the Nullify defensively this time. I'm going to use it to get closer to Miko's mushroom so I can heal myself up a little bit. And once I'm back at maximum health, I am going to charge forward once again, putting that pillar down on the minions. This is really crazy. This is very fast gameplay, and my team has a pretty significant lead at this point. We've killed their first sentry. It's only been 11 minutes and 20 seconds. This is actually pretty impressive. But you know what? The enemy team is holding on for dear life. They definitely don't want to give this up. They feel like they still have a chance. And they definitely do if they, find a way to just counter this hyper-aggressive playstyle that we have. Whiskey Foxtrot being that marksman poking at the back lines. Eldragon just being Eldragon. Looks like Shane and Aurochs is going to start attacking that Thumper turret, kind of disregarding the fact that I'm here and I'm about to just completely incinerate him with my Shadowfire Pillar. I do believe my Paradigm Shift missed, so that is unfortunate. That's a big burst of damage that I missed out on. But at this point, I feel like he's giving up hope. He kind of, maybe he's waiting for his stealth to come back. Yeah, he was definitely trying to confuse me a little bit, wait for that stealth to come back. But I am going to put the Shadowfire Pillar on the floor, and he's just going to blow up with the pillar. So that's unfortunate for him. Now it's time to pick the next two abilities. Prognostication, that's not a real fucking word, okay? But increases the effectiveness of Genosis, your passive ability. So now Nullify is going to reduce the cooldown of Shadowfire Pillar by 12 seconds. And this was actually a mistake. I meant to pick up Shadow Fury. That is going to increase the base damage of Shadowfire Pillar by 15%, making your Shadowfire Pillars that much more powerful. The other option increases the damage on Nullify, which is, it's strong in its own right, but I definitely like to have all of my power front loaded onto Shadowfire Pillar itself, because that is your main source of damage. So we're going to keep going. We're going to keep trudging along. We're going to keep that hyper aggression going. We're pew-pewing down the enemy's buildables. I'm staying in the fight. Miko, looks like Miko's actually in a little bit of trouble because of Alani, but I'm definitely not with that. I'm definitely going to try and kill Alani. She is going to sneak away, and I am actually going to go down for the first time. Marquis is going to snipe me out, and that is very unfortunate. The weakness of Orendi is that she's squishy, and she can definitely be bursted down unexpectedly if you're not careful. It looks like we're going to skip right back into the action. I am going to try and Paradigm Shift on Montana, but I kind of lost him in the crowd there, but I'm going to kill him in the end. The Thralls kind of hit him a little bit from the action. Gonna, once again, Alani coming up. This is just, everything is happening all at the same time. I'm chasing after Alani. I don't have any cooldowns available to me right now, so I'm sort of waiting, biding my time, twiddling my thumbs, throwing out those bolts when I can. Marquis is going to use his ultimate, and it looks like it's going to hit Eldragon, but he doesn't care. He's just charging in forward. And now, in this ensuing chaos, I am going to put down my Shadowfire Pillar, activate the Nullify once again to reset the cooldown, put another pillar. Looks like Marquis is almost going to go down. Now I have to chase him out, shoot those bolts. Boom, gonna hit him. And it looks like I'm going to land the taunt one more time while I'm getting zapped by the taser turret, and that's definitely not a safe thing to do, but I'm going to do it anyway because Orendi has no regard for her own safety. Popping that Shadowfire Pillar again, just staying intense, staying aggressive as much as possible, not letting anybody get any breathing room, not even giving any breathing room for myself. I'm running out of breath here, people. That's what I'm saying. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Wait a minute. Let's take a breather right now, because this is crazy. This is a little bit crazy right now. But you know what? This is what has to happen though when you play as Orendi. You got to think. You got to be crazy. You can't let up for even a second. You got to be relentless. And it looks like Montana did get caught in one of Galt's traps, and that was definitely a good time for me to capitalize on my Shadowfire Pillar. And here we go. Cleese standing in my face. He's obviously not paying attention to my positioning. Just gonna launch that Paradigm Shift directly in his face. So pretty much Orendi, she's got a basic toolkit. It's definitely a little bit tricky to land her abilities because they do have especially Shadowfire Pillar, because it has that activation time, but it's so powerful. It's a pretty bare bones kit. It's all about the damage, but just landing those spells, trying to predict people's movement, that's what makes her a difficult character. And the fact that she doesn't have a lot of health, she doesn't have any form of damage resistance, so she's weak in that regard, but it's all about the damage for her. If you can figure out how to land those skills, you can devastate everybody. Look at this. Cleese is trying to charge forward, but I'm not having it. I'm going to use Nullify and Shadowfire Pillar once again. He just respawned, and he's gone already. That's kind of ridiculous, but that's the power of Orendi. She can really just dominate people before anyone even has time to react. and that's what it's all about. Alani, she's, you know, she's splashing a little bit of water. Let me tell you something. Fire, greater symbol, water. Fuck all that noise about Alani. If you think she's overpowered, play Orendi. Shut that bitch down, okay? This ain't Avatar: The Last Airbender. Ain't no water benders in here. This is Battleborn, okay? That's what it's all about. Okay, and this particular match is coming to an end, and it doesn't look like I'm actually going to be alive to see the finish, because that sentry is just firing bullets straight in my face, and I'm going to go down. The minions, the sentry, everything, it all just kind of compounded into a big boom. But my team is still alive, so they're definitely going to be able to pick up the victory for us, and that's always a good thing. Even if you're dead, when the rest of your team comes together and gives you the victory, that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. We are going to select 2 more abilities, but, you know, the match is over, so what the hell? We don't need to talk about them. But that's Orendi, you know? It's all about getting those pillars, doing that damage. Now, this match coming to an end, like I said, walked away with 10 kills, 2 deaths. That's pretty good. May as well say it was 1 death because that last death at the end was from a minion. But let's take a look at another match. We're going to do a capture this time. We're going to see how things are different. The teams are up on the screen. If you're curious at all as to what the composition is, it's just a random group of guys. We got together and we said, hey, let's put in some work and let's get together. Let's try and win this thing. And that's exactly what we're going to try and do. So we're starting off. Here's the thing about Orendi. Here's the thing. I said this before, but I got to reiterate it. You got to get in her head, man. You got to get in that head, and you got to think, what would I do if I was Orendi? If I was this crazy girl that clearly needs to wash her feet, and, you know, like, what would I be doing? I wouldn't be backing myself into a corner like this. This is definitely, she overextended. She went in the wrong direction. Her team went somewhere else, and she was like, I'm going to just do me. But, you know, that was unfortunate for her. But a lot of things are happening right now. Thorn is on the field. My cooldowns aren't ready. But now they are, and I'm going to launch him out. I'm going to get that Shadowfire Pillar. In this enclosed space, I definitely have a pretty big advantage because people don't have the ability to move around nearly as much as they would like to, so it makes it a lot easier to land those Shadowfire Pillars, although you wouldn't think so because I did miss that one on Thorn while she was running away. That is definitely one of the troubles with the ability is faster characters definitely have an easier time getting away if they're paying attention. But if you put the pillar behind somebody, lead that shot, you can blow them the fuck up, and obviously you got to land the taunt because Orendi, it's all about the mind games. Once again, you got to make people mad when you play Orendi. She's just one of those characters that if people are upset, then you're doing the right thing with Orendi. You know, not every character needs to taunt everybody. Like if you're playing Miko and you're getting kills, you don't really need to taunt people. Like it's not that serious. But with Orendi, there's just something cerebral about it. There's something, it's psychological warfare. That's what it's all about. It's all about getting that psychological warfare. And even, you know, even on a mode like capture, it's all about the aggression with this character. The more aggressive you can be, the faster you can run around, the more relentless you can be, the better it is. You know, she's squishy. You know, sometimes you're going to die, sometimes you're going to get shot the fuck up, and it's not going to be pretty, but you're going to be rewarded for being aggressive. You're going to push people out of their comfort zones. You're going to just completely damage them with those, or you're just going to completely whiff like I just did, and that's a good thing. Now, we're actually starting off at a deficit right now. The enemy team started off capturing more points than we did. We're definitely being aggressive in the kill department, but not as aggressive in the capture department, so we're going to have to change our strategy a little bit if we're going to want to win this. We are 3-capping them right now, so that's definitely going to give us a significant advantage over them for the time being. If we can continue rotating in this manner, moving around the map, not staying still too long, then we can definitely close that gap and maintain the lead from the enemy team. And look at this, Varelsi spawned. I'm going to put those pillars on him, do some damage to it. These things, when you kill them, they will drop a Helix upgrade that levels you up immediately. And it looks like I just kind of got a little bit lost, got a little turned around. That is unfortunate. But it looks like Phoebe is out here doing some work, but she doesn't want it. She doesn't want to get engaged in that 2v1, especially not with Orendi. Orendi is she's deceptive, right? You think, oh, she's just this little thing and she's not scary, but she is fucking terrifying, because if you misstep one time, then Shadowfire Pillar is going to eat your face. And we're seeing, once again, the fact that being a mobile character puts Orendi at a disadvantage, because it is a little bit more difficult to lead those Shadowfire Pillars on somebody that's moving a little bit faster, a little bit sporadically, you know, a little bit unpredictably. So that's definitely a way to counter her, to get around the fact that she can do a lot of damage. Orendi's damage, it comes out fast enough, you know, 1.5 seconds, that's not too long, but if you can react to it, if you can think, you know, where is this pillar going to go? If you can see where the pillars are going, then you're definitely going to be at an advantage. You're going to be able to dodge it. And I'm just missing all the pillars right now. The capture game mode, that's when you really see the killing potential of a character. And unfortunately, I am missing most of my shots. Even tried to lead a Shadowfire pillar there, but I'm not going to get it. But I am going to do the quadruple Shadow Bolt Blast and Miko's Mushroom Tip, so that is going to take her out. And I did see Thorn over there. I kind of don't want to get into a 1 versus 1 situation with her. It's definitely a very dangerous thing. Orendi, she excels at capitalizing on the chaos that is already ensuing. She can definitely 1 versus 1 somebody, but she definitely is at a bigger advantage when she can capitalize on the chaos. I do have the blinding ability on my Nullify once again. I did hit Thorn with it, and there we go. That is perfectly leading the ability. Thorn walked right into that. That's what it's all about. It's all about trying to predict where the enemy is going to go and getting those pillars on him. As far as the capture game mode is concerned with the gear, you just pick whatever you got that doesn't cost a lot of shards, because there aren't that many shards available to you on this game mode. Now, my team is actually doing a very good job right now. We're capitalizing on the fact that we do have 2 tanks, 2 healers, and myself as the main source of burst damage. And we're playing that defense game very well right now. We've maintained the 3 cap for a significant amount of time. We've definitely caught up and more. We've taken a pretty significant lead, and this is very good for us. So the enemy team is actually having a hard time dealing with the fact that we have so much sustain, and myself with the burst damage. If I can ever land those Shadowfire pillars, my goodness, this is terrible. But yeah, we have the ability to just get in there and stay in there for an incredible amount of time. So it's definitely possible to win when you have a tanky team with a lot of sustain. And here we go. I'm sneaking up behind Thorn, using that ultimate and the Shadowfire pillar. Going to capitalize on the fact that Montana knocked her up. That pillar is going to do the full amount of damage, the dot damage and the final burst at the end. Just there's no way you can escape that. And that's definitely the power of Orendi, capitalizing on that crowd control. It's very, very powerful. And once again, the enemy teams, they're trying to capture points back, but they're just struggling. The fact that my team, we're so big, we're so sustainable, and we're rotating around the map fairly well. We're just keeping them, we're being wherever we need to be, right? And the capture game mode, it's one of the more traditional modes, right? It's just every FPS game has the capture game mode, and you can definitely see the fact that, you know, there's no minions running around, a lot of things. Wait a minute, this is crazy. They've come into a corridor of death right there, and that, if you're fighting with Orendi, don't go in a corridor with her, especially if she's got cooldowns ready, because you're going to bump into those Shadowfire pillars if you do that. It's very dangerous for her. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to capitalize on that knock-up from Montana, but my team is going to pick Thorn off very easily. But this game mode is definitely more traditional than the other game modes, Incursion and Meltdown, but even so, you can still see how dynamically all the different elements work together, how the character's skills play a significant role in how the maps function, how things feel. You know, playing Orendi feels different from playing Oscar Mike on the capture game mode, different from playing Caldarius, different from playing Montana. It all comes into play, and I was trying to be a little bit cheeky. I was trying to lead my shot on Oscar Mike. I saw him on my mini map, and I thought he was going to continue running around the corner. That would have been a nice surprise for him. And here we go. I'm chasing him out. I am activating all of my abilities, getting those cooldowns reset, but I'm definitely going to miss more than I would have liked to. My aim is obviously not that great, and once again, Orendi is definitely easier to play when she can capitalize on the chaos of minions running around, and just, you know, the fact that vision is a little bit more skewed when there's a lot more going on. And here we go, launching that pillar again, gonna miss again, just so many misses. Thankfully, my team is doing a really good job of cleaning up those kills. You know, I'm getting a little bit of damage. I wish I could go and get some more, but I can't because of the force field. We're kind of spawn camping at this point. This was a quick match, right? This was a quick one, but, you know, just got to do what you got to do. Going to lead that pillar. Going to get a little bit of the dot damage. It's not going to finish her off, but she is going to get, you know, she's going to try and jump around, but Isaac is going to finish her off. But, you know, there we go. You know, this was just kind of an exhibition thing. We're just showing off a little bit more of the power of Orendi, showing off the fact that you can just blow people up. Especially if you've got better aim than I have with those Shadowfire pillars, it's definitely good. But these big guys, they're putting in work. The surrender vote's going to go up or whatever, you know. That's Orendi for you, ladies and gentlemen. This has been iBluAirJgR Gaming for Comedy. The name of the game is Battleborn. The game mode, this one is Capture. The last one was Incursion. It's been a lot of fun. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.